session of today and of this World Travel Market. We have sessions tomorrow and Thursday as well. And we're very, very grateful to have Siren Communications, Sarah Rathbone. Sarah Rathbone at the back there has been a very loyal supporter of us and our sessions throughout the last 5 years of World Travel Market. We've been doing this since 2011 when we approached World Travel Market and said, there's this thing called social media you really should be aware of. And they went, really interesting, come on in. And Sarah and Siren are very much people who understand, who have understood that trend as well. So very, very pleased to have you here today, Sarah. I'm also incredibly pleased to have these three gentlemen on my left who over the last 5 years, I've got to know an awful lot of people in the travel industry and the social digital side of it. But these three fine gentlemen, three wise and merry gentlemen, are exponents of the best of social media and digital for DMOs. They, between them, represent Cornwall, Emilia-Romagna and Costa Brava. So the three prime holiday travel destinations in Britain, Spain and Italy. And if these three people don't know what best practice has been and what form it's going to take in the next 5 years, I really don't know. So what we're going to do is have a 5 to 10 minute presentation from each. Then we're going to have a very good, healthy and robust debate, I'm sure, between us, see whether we agree or not. And I expect you to lob questions at us during that half an hour. So first up, as he's the home champion, I would like to invite Malcolm Bell, who's the Chief Executive of Visit Cornwall. At our Social Travel Britain Awards earlier this year, Visit Cornwall won the Best Overall Use of Social Media prize, which is not a surprise because they are very fine, as I say, exponents. And wander on over, Malcolm, while I now attempt to find your presentation without my specs on. Is that it?
That's it.
How long have you been with Cornwall, Malcolm?
Oh, well, 6 years now, but in the southwest, 15 years. Different jobs, different times.
Very good.
There we go. No. And
So,
the wonders of technology.
Wonders of technology and social media. This happens every year.
That's starting to work there.
It's starting to whir around. As I said earlier, the Wi-Fi in this place continues to be shocking in Excel. I apologise for that. And now we have... We have a presentation. Malcolm Bell, Visit Cornwall.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll just keep an eye on the time so I don't go over. I want to sort of contextualise what we've done. I think in the past we've spoken about the use of the video and social media. I suppose the thing I said at a meeting the other day to some young marketeers, and most people are younger than me these days, so to those younger marketers, is the good news is there's some good news and there's bad news. The good news is that digital marketing and social media are now very, very important to businesses and are right at the heart of many travel and tourism businesses. The bad news is that digital and social media is right at the heart of a business and very important to that business. And the reason why those are the same statements is I think one of the challenges is actually getting the communication across now to grey-haired chief executives, accountants and board of directors who now want to try to understand this because it's now revenue critical, business critical. So one of the things that in terms of dealing with those wider stakeholders, we've sort of gone back a couple of stages of some real Janet and John marketing to show people how it fits in. So if I sort of kick off with AIDA, which is a very old-fashioned one. I know you've got the funnel now and all sorts of other ones, but it is about creating awareness, creating an interest, creating a desire, and turning to action. This is from a tourist board's perspective. And I think the main thing is that social media, video, digital marketing actually comes in each of these stages. So when you are talking about awareness, it can be that Instagram picture, it can be that actually engagement with somebody sharing something on Facebook, but you've got to start thinking about what are you actually trying to communicate. And I'll come back to that towards the end. And then you do, so it is about getting the customers interested in it, finding out the breadth of holidays. Just because somebody's aware of Cornwall as a holiday destination doesn't mean they're interested. A marketing manager of mine once said everybody's aware of Ebola. Nobody wants it. So don't confuse awareness and with interest. So again, it's that interest, looking at it's the old-fashioned marketing, who's your target audience, which is the best tools, how you're getting there. It's then very clear to turn that into desire, and particularly about booking a holiday relatively quickly. Again, you can make people aware, you can make them interested, but they'll do it one day. And again, that's where some of the issues that we've done is changing things, festivals, events, showing things in real time and live time. And obviously then there's the action. Now for a tourist board, a lot of our stuff is at this top end of getting the awareness and the interest and the desire. A lot of the action comes from tourism businesses. So we're about really starting to feed that top end, and our businesses are very much the other end. Bring those two together, and you get the market. So how do we do that in digital and media? Well, I'll quickly sort of move on. It's a variety of things, really. You'll see a lot of things up there. But actually, what I want to say at the beginning is, first of all, it all starts very much with a coordinated communications plan. We have a 12-month plan, which is updated every month, and that includes adding a month on, but also revising it, of what are the themes, to which market are we working on, and which tool and which channel are we using. So that actually, if one of our customers and targets is actually receiving several different forms of channel communication, they're looking on the web, they're picking up stuff from PR, they're picking up stuff on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, or video, they're actually getting the same message. They're not getting confused messages coming down different channels. So, you know, one of the big ones to grab attention is competitions. For those in the UK, Poldark's been a big boost for us this year. One of our biggest competition prizes was Poldark. But with that, you get an awful lot of photo competitions running, and also video and location stuff. So you'll see there a lot of stuff around there. Visits to the website, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter followers, the consumer database. YouTube is still very, very big. We constantly reuse video and remash video and bring it through. So that's where we are. But the other things we've moved on with use of video is that TV companies now are very short of money. So we do an awful lot working with TV companies that are showing in Cornwall. But the big thing I want to point to is the B-roll. For anybody involved in our sort of work, make sure you own the B-roll, the other film content that you take then when we're doing our promotional films. There's a Holiday Hit Show there, which is a BBC One main channel programme of 12 minutes of their session on holiday in Cornwall. 8 minutes of it was our film. And now BBC News is using our B-roll, which means every time they do a story on Cornwall and they need an aerial shot or an outside shot, they use film that we provide. And remarkably, this might come as a shock, it's always a sunny day when we provide the film. So you get free mainstream BBC awareness raising from it. But as I said, I just want to go back on that communication plans, because that also drives the other thing that drives social media, which is good old traditional PR and media relations. It is those stories in the paper as well as those online that switch people between paper and print. And that's also got to follow through into the website. Good growth, but again, the blogs and the content on there and the themes have got to follow through from that communication plans. So I suppose very quickly I want to take you through these few minutes to say that, to my mind, going back to the AIDA model, digital and social media, video, they're all incredibly valuable tools, but used badly, it's like a shotgun going off. Used well, it's like a rifle targeting in on a customer to really convince them to come. So it's not about each individual tool. My other terrible analogy, it's a bit like an orchestra. If everybody's playing a different tune on a different instrument, it doesn't sound very well. If you actually conduct that and coordinate that, then you have impact. Thank you very much.
It's very rarely when you're talking about social media and digital that you hear an expression that sticks. Jaume has got several of them. Remember, I think one of his favourites is, it's not about me, it's about my people, the community. They're the ones who create, not the tourist board. But I've now got a new one from Malcolm. If I've been hit by a rifle, I know I've been hit well, not by a shotgun. Thank you very much for that, Malcolm. Moving swiftly on, we are going to go now to Italy. It's a bit like the Eurovision Song Contest. Come on in, Italy. And we've got Nicholas Montemaggi, beg your pardon, who it's not the first time he's spoken at World Travel Market for us. In fact, he's spoken for us in several locations. And the reason we have him back time and time again is because he knows his stuff. Also because 4 years ago he struck upon a new idea. It wasn't entirely his, he'll tell you more about it, but it was about Blogville. And I'd like you to give a hand to Nick, whose presentation is going to come up very shortly.
Where's the hand? Okay, there you go. Thank you. So, buonasera a tutti. Hi, and thanks first of all to Steve and Mark again for wanting me to be here. As he said, my first time at WTM was 2012, when I presented some of the results of the project that I'm going to tell you about. I see many familiar faces here, so I know that many of them already heard about it. So I'm just going to give an overview of it, and then to talk about different points, why for us as Emilia-Romagna region it is important to work with digital influencers. So I know Jome will talk a bit about it later as well, and we will talk all together also then after in the discussion. So the project is called Blogville Italy, and it's a project that has been created together with digital influencers, with bloggers. So in 2011, me, Kesh Bhattacharya, the budget traveler, and Melvin Böcher of Travel Dudes sat together, and we were like brainstorming about, okay, the digital, is important, it's coming out, so, but still the DMOs or the agencies and the companies are not working good with this kind of new digital influencers. Because is it moving? No, here. No? No. Yeah, now it works. It was stopped. There wasn't a play on. So sorry. So I go back because what we saw in the industry happening was that DMOs got aware that there were people, these new influencers called bloggers. And so basically what they did, they just thought about, okay, we always work with the press, so we just take a press trip and we do that for the bloggers. And brainstorming between the three of us, we said, well, there could be more potential in working with digital influencers because they are not only like writing, but they're creating content like such as photography, video, and many, many other things. So we said, why don't we think ahead of the classical term blog trip, and we just like provide something that does not have a fixed and intense schedule, which is also like to give time to the bloggers to enjoy the real essence of the destination, because now that's what a traveler wants to know. When I travel, for example, and I come here to London, I don't want to be seen as a tourist. I want to be seen as a citizen of the city. So, it's more that I'm part of it because we live now in a big global world. And also that the covered themes that you do during press trips maybe are not of interest for all the bloggers, because the first trips that you were seeing happening, and unfortunately it's still going on now, you see people inviting over, okay, I invite Cash, who is the budget traveler, writes about budget. Then maybe I invite, for example, Keith of Velvet Escape, who writes about luxury. And then someone else doing adventure, but they put them together on the same trip, and they do stuff that it's not interesting for them. Like, for example, the idea came out because we did mistakes as well, but if you don't do mistake, you can't, like, improve. We had on this trip Cash over, and we were in Rimini in this really beautiful hotel, a 5-star hotel, but he said, it's really beautiful, but I will never write about it because it's not suitable for my readers. So that's a missed opportunity for us. And so that's how we said, why don't we create a place, like we took the example of the House of the Artists, where the artists gather together and then express themselves and discuss and come up with new ideas. And we just do the house, the apartment of the digital influencers. So we had, since 2012, in Bologna, an apartment in the center of the city, where every week there were from 3 to 4 bloggers, sometimes also 5, and from there they were able to go to enjoy the destination like a real tourist does, so looking for the things that they like, the things that their readers want, and so we gave access to them to that. And these are some numbers of this 4 years campaign that then we developed also together with iAmbassador. So we will talk about it later as well, also with Steve, so how it's going to be in the future, also how it's going to be. And as you see, we hosted over 180 bloggers coming from all the markets that were interesting for us. So that's also another thing. You have to think what markets are important for you, but also to step away from the traditional thinking of the press, like saying, oh, you know, I need a blogger from Canada because I want to cover the Canadian market. But then you invite a blogger, for example, from the UK, and they say, no, he has to be from Canada. But then you look at the analytics, and they have more readers from in Canada or in the US rather than in the UK. So you have also to think different when you work with these digital influencers. And the project lasted for a total of 15 months. So every year we had from 3 months to 6 months. And over 1,200 posts were published. So like really, really good content, a lot of shared photos and videos, and the social media impact was also really good for us. But to get all of this, and here is more a personal slide from myself, is like relationship and trust in this new media are important, and in the people working in it. I put here together a lot of photos. I think my girlfriend gonna kill me as well because I put her there as well. But you have to trust as a DMO, like to trust the bloggers. So try to work with them, this digital influencer, learn together with them, and they have to learn from you. Trust in the partners, our partners of the region. They were the people that the bloggers or the influencers were meeting. So they are the ones who set the services, provide the services, and provide the services to the tourists. Then the people, of course, of the region, because that's a really big, important part. Of course, DMOs, so Jom is here as well. And of course, we're going to talk about it later, but I think learning from other DMOs, what they're doing, and not like seeing each other as a competitor. You know, we are two destinations, Costa Brava and Emilia-Romagna. We could say we are fighting for the same tourists. No, we need to join together to have a strategy, and we can grow up together, because that's the really good thing. And the really good thing in digital is that we can try, of course we will do mistakes, but that helps us to improve and to go always a step ahead. And then, of course, the family, because as you can hear, I put a lot of effort and passion in this project and in all what we did at the Emilia-Romagna, so you need to have also someone that supports you over there. Talking about the results, and that's really important, because our project was one that lasted 4 years, so a long time. When thinking about digital, social media, the internet, people think, oh, you know, it's fast, it's cheap, and it brings results in a really short time. Don't think about that. Think really long term. I have here some examples, like those are emails that our partners within the region that hosted bloggers still get nowadays from people, readers of the blogs, that want to book something. For example, on the right, you see a post over there about a cooking class, and I don't want to mention him again, but you see Cash is in there as well doing pasta. But this post was published in 2011. It's still online. Talks about this facility, this cooking school, and still after 3.5 years, now it's 4, the director of the cooking school is getting booking from people because they read them. Another thing to show you that you don't have only to think about like the market, I need someone that is Canadian because they will hit the Canadian market. No, they will hit other kinds of markets. Here you see down there is an article about trekking in the Apennines, in the region, in the Emilia-Romagna, in the mountains. And the email our operator got was from a Brazilian person that read on a Canadian blog, so in English, about this activity and wanted to book it. So you see how it's like, you know, these cross channels are working and how it's going. And also some really good things are that we have bloggers that maybe visited in 2013 or 2012, and still nowadays in 2015, they're publishing content. So it's still coming out. So it's not, I'm sorry, but I hope you pass me the term, a one-night stand. You know, you don't have to reason long-term. You have to create a relationship. And the most funny thing, and that I liked a lot, is the feedback that we got from our local tourist bureaus. For example, the local tourist bureau of Bologna told me, oh, you know that there is people coming into the tourist office with the printed articles of the influencers, of the bloggers with the stories. So, you know, if you think about it, people are printing the articles. So also, I'm not like someone that says print is dead, it's not okay. No, I say we are part of, it's all part of the puzzle, you know, so it's pieces of the puzzle of the communication. So that's, for me, a really important thing. I close it here with a couple of takeaways, mostly for DMOs, and so why you have to work with bloggers and when you work with bloggers. Like, first of all, don't work with bloggers because everyone else is doing that. You have to have a plan, because most of the time you see a lot of projects happening just because, you know, everyone works with bloggers, so we have to do that as well. And so, yeah, our politicians are happy, but then after 1 year, you don't see any result, and you say, why did we invested money in here? So that's not good. Then think also, like I said before, long term. It's not a one-night stand, sorry for the word, but it's a relationship. Collaborations and trust are the key, like I said before. And again, long-term relationship, because it's really important for me. But also you have to think long-term, like I showed you before, for the evaluations of the outcomes. So it's not just the social media numbers, but it's also all the other KPIs that come after it. So that's it, yeah.
Thanks very much, Nick. What I have noticed in the last 4 years is, amongst many other things, this constant, when digital came in, bloggers came in, the world had changed, and newspapers are going to go away. Well, they clearly haven't gone away. There are still 400 record shops in the UK. There's still independent bookshops in the UK. None of this stuff disappears. It just transforms and morphs into something else. But what happens at the end of the day is the whole collective. And as Nick says, if you're given long term, you might get some stuff done. Our last speaker, Jaume Marine, Costa Brava Tourist Board. Big hand, please.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Good? It's very difficult to speak after Malcolm, and especially Nick, but I'll try to do it and try to do it quick, because I think there's many things to discuss there. First, we were one of the pioneers to start working with bloggers. We started, Keith, I think, came, and Cash came in the first blog trip. That was 5 years ago now, which looks a long time. And we brought in these 5 years over 1,000 bloggers to our destination, more than 1,000 bloggers. So we know by experience, not by anything else, but we try hard. First, we realized 4 years ago that all the content that we created was not enough, but not enough, not as a quantity, as a relevance. And people don't believe what I said. People don't believe that I said, look, the Costa Brava is the most beautiful place in the world, because they think, well, this guy get paid at the end of the month, you know? So they don't believe us. So our objectives 4 years ago was to try to get as much as possible, and it's still our objective, content generated by third parties. So by users, by clients, by travelers, and by prescribers. And Nick was saying, you know, one of the tenets is like travel like a local. You know, so that's why we started with a blog bill, and we start now. We share it with a residence blogger program that we have. But which is the next trend? The next trend for me is clear: is travel with a local. So we need to see the DMOs how we're doing this. So we're gonna move from travel like a local with travel with a local. So we're gonna see how we move this. So we tried to get as bloggers. We didn't treat it as a short-term relationship. We treated it like ambassadors. So everyone that has been in our area, or most of them that has been in our areas, we keep in contact, we keep in touch, and we try to treat them like ambassadors, because they're our ambassadors online. People, they got audience, they got credibility, they rely on them, so treat them like good, and treat them in the long terms. Keep in touch always. Keep reading, keep commenting, keep sharing things. You know, it's not just they came and that's it, you know, they come and that's it, no. And then remember, us is always more important than me. And this is very difficult sometimes from a DMO, that we think that we are the kings of the world, you know, and these are what we're going to create brand. And we don't create brand. And this we don't understand, but the marketing director or the director or the executive officer, we don't create brand. Sometimes it's created by a little bit by DMOs, a little bit by tour operators as well, a lot now by media, Visit Cornwall says some of the movies and all that, but all the offline media and all that. So we're investing in this. Now we had the 60s of Game of Thrones coming and filming Girona. But then we have the community, and we have our prescribers, the main prescribers, bloggers, influencers, and the visitors. So we have, this is our main sales force. This we have to involve. And more immature destinations like us and Emilia Romagna, which is a mature destination, what we do, people start saying, oh, there's too many tourists, there's too many things, so if I don't be tourist in this restaurant, it would be better. You know, you start getting these comments. But when they are involved in the brand, and they believe they create the brand, that's when the brand is more powerful, because they make them themselves, and they are the ones defending the brand. It's not depending on the DMO. So that's what we try. And of course, the main thing is engagement. It's not a thing about ROI as return on investment. This is a silly thing, because it doesn't count like that. It comes in a long-term thing, and it comes from being friends with them and being really engaged with the destination and the brand. We started with blog trips in Costa Brava. We started 5 years ago. Here's Cash and Keith, I think, there. And we did as well, but because we wanted relevant and quality content. We had content in the net, but not enough, and not relevant enough. So they start creating posts, they start creating relevant content, and throughout the year, it's not just to get a spam week when they're in the blog trip and all this. You get all this noise in Twitter, which is annoying if you got all of them in the timeline, because they all talk about the same and what they're eating and where are they going. No, it's a long-term thing. So we want it all year round, and they want to inspire more credibility than the official institution. So we need to think about that. And we need to think that they want to be like a local, so they have to have a unique experience, and some experiences that, why is different than Emilia Romagna from Costa Brava? They got things that they only can do, and the people, and the experiences. So it's not about just postcards and showing beautiful postcards, it's about showing experiences, and how they show that, and how do we program. And then it's another thing, because Malcolm was telling, the call to action. Are the companies following us? Because probably we can be pioneers, we can do a lot of things, but are the companies following us, or they just say, look, just they can keep going and then just try to sell what we have? No, we have to involve the people. We have to involve everybody in the trade, which is not easy. We did it with different communities. We start with travel bloggers, but then we move to wine bloggers, we move to golf bloggers, and we move, for us, we have a destination, Costa Brava, which 75% is family. So we move, say, who takes decisions? First, children from 15 years old or less. They take 73% of the decisions, and the other 18% takes by moms. So men doesn't decide anything in holidays, or anything else. So we decided to invite mommy bloggers and parents bloggers, and that was more effective, because it's not about numbers. It's not about how big everything is. No, it's about authority, which is the power they have to change the opinion of someone else, which is the power they have to change or influence somebody else. This is authority. So it's not about how many number of followers you have in Twitter, how many number of page views, and all that. It's about the authority you have over these people. How is the engagement? What is the comment? So we have to read. And then, just to end up, we created this Instagram Your City to involve all the community. We created a program to involve all the community, visit the city in a different way, and create content. And we did more than 46 in the first year, so almost every weekend, and we got like more than 200,000 pictures in 1 year in Costa Brava, which people, I love it. I mean, I put them in my business cards, and they say, oh, Jama, you put it in my business card, my pictures, and they're crazy. Can you send me 10? Yes, because they're part of it. So make them heroes. Not just involve them, make them heroes, make them important. We created even, we have the best restaurant in the world, which is a cellar and rock. We created a competition and said, spend a day in a cellar, which it costs nothing. It costs €0. But they're crazy amount of people, because people wanted to spend a day taking pictures inside the best cuisine in the world, the best kitchen. So sometimes it's about innovation and trying new things. So all this, and this is the picture that won, like rock and roll, because it's the Roca Brothers. And so we get involved people all over the place, and all that. We had 68 meetings last year. More than 200,000 pictures, so you cannot buy this if you want it. So that's what we try. And this year we invented with a selfies trend, which I don't know if you like it or not, but we're going to be selfie your city. So people are taking selfies in their city, people community, and they feel proud of their brand, very proud. And of course, then when we try to get all the bloggers together, we had TVEX in 2012, and then we had TVEX in Lloret de Mar in 2015 with more than 800 bloggers, and we try to involve the community and the trade sector, and we get 3,000 free rooms for bloggers. 3,000 free rooms, which the trade sometimes is difficult to deal and get a free room for a promotional thing. So we got 3,000 free rooms. So that means that they had a week free to wander around and to experience all that. And then we try to model a little bit, but we don't have many success as the Emilia Romagna. We try to model this blog bill. And we did the Residence Bloggers program this year, which we're going to do. So it's blogger residence is like from 6 to 12 weeks that they can be in the area, just experiencing and living like a local. So it doesn't put the pressure that I have a timing and like a crazy and seeing too many things. They can live it, they can absorb, they can question, they can research, which is important. They have to do work because it's their brand and it's their work. So we had different resident bloggers that you probably all know. And and then you got all the comments that Nick showed you as well. And it's like they're real things, they're real comments that they are proud of their area. And this is what you want. And eventually, where is engagement? We got one of the bloggers that came in our area and said, look, I work for National Geographic, but I cannot write because they have this travel thing and they cannot write. But she stayed there, and Cash was there with Marilyn and Tero. And after like 6 months, they start asking questions and all that and blah, blah, we didn't know. And after 6 months, we get Costa Brava as one of the best travel destinations, which changed our destination completely because we get awareness, we get desire, information desire, and all that from all over the place. And this is a question of engagement. And this you cannot pay it. You can, even the budget you have. So it's a question that you get the recognition, but it's a long-term thing, as said. And this is mainly it. This is a video that I want to show you because it's 2 minutes and I don't want to spend that. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoy it, and now we have the conversation.
There you go. That's a quick romp in 30 minutes through an awful lot of subjects there, which we'll attempt to discuss over the next 30 minutes as well. We will welcome your questions during that time. I don't want it to be just a sort of me and them chat, but please do wave your hand around if there's anything particularly you want to comment on the issues we're going to try and cover in that time. We did bill this as Social Media 2020. I think what we've heard of is what's happened in the last 5 years, which has been a colossal sea change just within that time. And what I've got from you three gentlemen is the fact that all those disparate bits you're bringing into the mix all the time, because it's not just one thing or another. Malcolm, it's not just video, it's B-roll you mentioned there. And I was interested to hear your comment about internal marketing and external marketing, persuading the bosses that this stuff you've created is now digitally important to their revenues. You've got to continue that. Something like B-roll, can you start to sell that yourself? Can you start to become a digital supplier of commercial content?
I don't think we look to sell it because it's a matter of actually communicating it. I think it's also about, in this world where a lot of distribution, they're so content hungry that actually just getting your imagery, your stories and everything else out there is like there's a massive vacuum with people wanting quality. And I think I do pick up from my colleagues, it's got to be authentic, not tourist boardy stuff. It's authentic content on your area. There's such a thing that you don't want to sell it. You want to actually just distribute it. Just let it go the way it wants to go.
I think that's something you learned a couple of years ago was to start taking Visit Cornwall off the film and the stuff you were supplying, just making it neutral, so people then use the content more.
The only thing we ever finish with is #LoveCornwall, because that resonates with the local population and businesses as well as visitors. Yeah. And in a way, that's what any destination wants. It's for its visitors to be as fond of the area as the locals are.
Very good. Now, Nick, same theme, sort of, is there a way that tourist boards or DMOs can become cash positive as well in terms of generating money or save money? Now, I believe you have a job change coming up with Emilia Romagna. Can you tell me a bit more about this?
Yeah. That's, like I said, something... What, you want to say something?
Now that your boss is away.
Yeah, so he's just... My former boss just left. No, but no, the thing is this. Starting from 2 weeks ago, I am now joined, and I'm now the marketing director of iAmbassador, which is the biggest agency, we can say, that hosts the most important online influencers in travel all over the world. And those are the guys where also Melvin, Keith, and Cash are part about it, and which we developed Blogville, and we really built it up together in the last 4 years. So we arrived now to a point where we saw, okay, there could be even more potential. We can get this to a next level, even like this agency as well as hosting the best online travel influencers of the world. So we need to take this step. And so 2 weeks ago I said, okay, I'm going to join you and I'm going to grow it. that doesn't mean that I said goodbye to Emilia-Romagna. No, Emilia-Romagna is supporting us to build this up, to create this, and to create a huge network together. And also, like we will speak also later, with Jome we are doing stuff together. So it's like has a lot of branches, you know. So
does it mean though that Emilia-Romagna is outsourcing its Blogville program to you and our ambassadors?
Yeah, it kind of already was in a part. We say, you know, yeah, I was working there, but I'm still working there because my heart and my mind are there, and we are still collaborating together, cooperating together. We want to do big things, and that was the level. If we were thinking about where do we go from here in 5 years, we need to take some actions.
Okay, so Blogville's been running for 4 years. Do you still see it running in 5 years' time?
Yes, but maybe with a different model, a different concept. We had nice talks in the last days, even with my former colleagues and the new colleagues, but about how it can go. And like Jaume said, we are like pushing it and seeing in how to integrate better the resident people.
Okay,
the
talking about
community.
sorry, Nick. Talking about collaboration, cooperation. Jaume, you've taken the model of Blogville, interpreted it for Costa Brava, or about to do so. Do you see that's learning all the time from other regions as well, or what is the best practice?
I think the best practice, first we had this conversation before with Nick before we came in, because we've been talking in the World Travel Market, in other forums and congresses about these blog trips and Blogville, which I think, you know, Nick, I once again, Blogville here, you know, I think we have to push ourselves because, okay, we talk about blog trips and Blogville, and every day or every year more people in the crowd, but we need to push a little bit. So that's why we want to collaborate, we want to push it together. And I think one of the ways to collaborate, which DMOs are not exploiting, is collaborating together. Yeah. Because although they look as like competitors and they fight, we are not. And probably from the long haul and from other is we have similar things that they can attract them. So we're going to do a big project together next year.
You can tell us about that? Can you tell us about that?
Later. No, we're going to do things about... We got similar things like gastronomy. We got the 1 and 3rd best restaurant in the world, but the products second. Sorry, second. Second best restaurant in the world. And we have products like Parmigiano, like prosciutto and all that. We have products in our area as well. We have culture and all that. And it's very similar things. We have big resorts like Rimini and Lloret de Mar, which is a big tourist centers. So there's a lot of common things that we can link. And there's projects, crazy things that are coming out in our minds that we need to set a little down. But I think it's a way to collaborate, and it's a way to move forward. We are not competitors. People are not just loyal to one thing, but probably are more loyal to their hobbies. They're more loyal to what they want to do, to the reasons to travel, than to the destination. So that's why we need to take profit out of it.
Malcolm, how are you going to work with these boys?
I think it's very... I'm just writing a lot of notes. I think it's that issue around tapping into... It's about being real and authentic, but it's also tapping into people's interests and passions. And blogs and social media as the tools we've never had to be able to communicate, share individually those areas of bringing people together with their interests and passions. And when those coincide with the location, that's when you get this new way of marketing, which isn't about pretending that you're something that you're not. It's about being able to attract those people that really like it in a variety of multiple niches. Yeah. And if we went back 5 years, some of those niches were just uneconomic to be able to engage with. So I think it's very interesting, this agenda now is that real way of going into multiple niches rather than saying we have to commit to this sole type of tourism and put all our budget behind that. Because actually people like variety, even those if they come and there's multiple niches, they still actually enjoy it and they want that. They don't want monotone, mass, commodity products and experiences.
Okay, entirely. Are there any DMOs in the room here who have a question for these three on the concept of collaboration, cooperation, and niche? We have a lady on the left there.
Martina from the Austrian Tourist Office. First of all, Blogville, how did you convince your bosses to support it? Because it's a lot of money involved probably. And not really. How did you I mean, you are working together now, Spain and Italy. How does that work? Because that would never work for us in Germany.
No, so I answer. The first answer is the project was not expensive. I can tell you, we started in year 1, it was 15,000 euro, and we arrived now to 80,000. So if you think about budgets, and if you think about digital, it's not a lot for the return we are getting. And also one of the results of this project is not only the online exposure or whatever. We connected. We met each other through this project, and we are now building other things together. We connected with the ambassador. So you have to think also and to reason with these things. And how I convinced my boss, it was really funny because I was there since 1 year at the tourist board, and I wrote down this project because he told me, like, you're good, I want to hire you, but you need to become unique in something. So I said, I have something in my head. I wrote it down, he looked at it and said, yeah, I don't understand the half of it, but I trust you. You know, I was talking about trust before, so you need to establish also with your colleagues and CEOs, like, a trust. And that's also how in the digital world, we need also, sometimes I talk with my colleagues, and so we have to reason that sometimes we don't talk the same language of the people of their CEO. So you have to put the thing simple, to present it in a simple way. And for them now, seeing this kind of results, oh, you know, we're going to be in London speaking together with Costa Brava, with Cornwall. We are, like, you know, doing joint project together. And also what pushes us to do joint project together is, of course, the European Union. You know, the EU is founding, like, is giving money to joint projects, you know, of destination, in this case of the Mediterranean area together. So that's just a way to start. And in 5 years, you don't know what kind of network we created, how we can go on with that. And the second question was, yeah, kind of that. Like, in Austria, it's not going to work. I don't think so. I'm kind of Austrian because I come from the south of Bavaria, so I live 20 kilometers from Salzburg now. So I think it's going to work. I was a lot in Germany in the last years, also for conference. I met the German tourist boards, and we're starting to share also this kind of knowledge together with Finland, for example, as well, with Britain. So there is an interest, and it comes from, I know it came from more the digital part, also because we from the digital were the ones suffering more of the, okay, you are the cheap ones, we give you almost zero, and you have to create something. And so it started all from that, but now we can aim to bigger budgets because we are bringing over results.
Jeremy, can I just ask Jeremy, yes, can it only work on a regional basis? Martina represents the Austrian National Tourist Office.
Yeah.
Is it, Jeremy, is it more a regional flexibility that will work?
There is two things to try to answer this and both at the same time. There's two things. First, tourism is about people and persons. So probably if Nick was there or probably Emilia-Romagna would be different. I don't know. Sometimes when a blogger says, who do I have to pitch? I say, well, it depends. Probably the marketing director or CEO doesn't understand anything. But if you get the right person with the sensitivity and all that, sensible to that, then it will be perfect. So tourism is about people. So sometimes connecting with people makes things easier. I mean, I'm very happy that my vice president is sitting with the Emilia-Romagna director here. Because if they connect, things are going to be easier for me. No, but this is about people. This is about people. So you have to connect with your boss and all that. So
We
have
get
to
the
make
roving
it.
microphones.
This is important. And the second thing is about being quick. Because, for instance, for me it was impossible to compete or to benchmark or to a national tourist board. Now, national tourist boards are scared of us.
Yeah,
This is the reality, because we are quick, because we make a decision in 1 hour, because they trust us, because our boss is there, because they trust our people. So we have to be quick. Be quick. And you fail quick and fail cheap, but be quick.
Yeah.
Malcolm, is that something? You're nodding your head at the end of the table.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other message is the old joke about marketing is only 50% of it works. The trouble is you don't know which 50%, and that's transferred into this world, and I think that's the issue. And the other one is, I think the trust element is true, and trust added with trial and error. You know, until you try and let it weave its path. I think sometimes in the past people sort of overanalyze things and plan to the nth degree. And this is not the Wild West frontier, but it is an area where sometimes you don't know what will work until you try it, and then it twists a bit and then really does work. So that's where you do need the trust to enable it to weave its way rather than pull the plug on it or accusations. So I think that element about, I don't understand it, but try it. I've had conversations like that, but I tend to think, well, let go. You know, I think the other danger thing, I think the thing that my grandfather taught me, and he's long since gone, and this applies to me, is, you know, the real thing you must fight in your life, particularly in marketing with the digital arena, is the old adage, I know what I want what I know. The world is going to be different, and you've got to keep your mind open, because actually you might have 25, 30 years experience, but probably 23 of those is irrelevant when it comes to some of the new communication channels.
So you will keep, as you all are, you'll keep doing what you're doing, but you're always experimenting and pushing on and pushing back to the community. Yeah. You mentioned B-roll earlier, though. Video, I've always thought of Cornwall as being such innovators in video. You ask local journalists, you have a panel every so often to suggest storylines. You don't put on the name. And the more I read, and if people agree with this generally, is that video within 2 years' time has got to be the main consumed form of social media. So is that something you really still put at the top of your agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. I was at a very strange experience last week. I was over with the Meet the Media event in New York, and we went as the Southwest as part of Cornwall. And you start off with these things, with these half an hour speed dating, showing a presentation. And after the first two, I stopped it completely and actually sat down and said, what sort of things do you write about? What sort of things are you interested in? And was literally just Googling things I knew and looking up the video streams in Google and YouTube and showing people like that. So it was reversing what a tourist board would normally do of the prepared presentation. You know, it was actually really customizing it. And it was actually only a week ago I thought how powerful we'd forget that video searches on Google when you're trying to explain something. So we had, for instance, this guy said, I've done everything. I know England, I've done the Southwest, I've done everything. I blog for National Geographic and all the rest of it. And out of the blue, because I know we've got it, I said, you know, have you ever dived with seals? And he went, what do you mean dive with seals? Swam with seals. So I quickly put on the video, which is just literally off YouTube. I didn't know which one it was. But that experience did it for him when he realised the seals were natives, they were wild, they were playing with humans, you know. So I think it's that responsiveness you need. And video does communicate so much quicker than anything else. But I think, again, it's also using the tools to customise to the individual. And so it's about actually saying, what do you want to know about? And I'll tell you honestly what's there, not this is my pre-prepared message.
Yeah. 1,000 bloggers in 5 years, Jamie. 800 of those were from TPEX, or was that excluding the 800?
No, not all of them. No, I don't count these. I don't count double people that come twice or they come twice to TPEX.
Okay, but still up there in your top three of philosophies to bring the bloggers in and tell the story themselves?
And get different segments. And as Malcolm was saying, we did good things and we did bad things. We did a mess up of things. The first time we came with wine bloggers was a disaster because they were not interested in experience. They were not interested in what we have to show it our sellers, our owners. And after 2 days, and I told them and said, look, what happened here, guys? It's not working. They said, well, do you prefer that I send you a box of wine to your house every year? I said, yeah, that's much better, Jaume. Well, we save all this. So we have to experience this, but we have to learn from this. So you have to try it. 4 years ago when we started, and you helped us, Steve, with mommy bloggers and with parents blogging, we didn't know what it was all about. The first we did it without children, which it worked, but not so well. The second we did it with children and all that, and it worked very well. And then everything. So you have to try new things, and we have to try new segments because for instance, mommy bloggers are not that powerful with numbers, but they're much authority about it. So it worked very well. So you have to, each segment, you have to know how to work it very well. And you have to probably find the right prescriber. Sometimes it's not a blogger, it's an influencer in golf, the other one in wine, the other one. So you have to know how to work it, and you have to try things. And we're going to keep bringing bloggers in a different way, but bringing bloggers. Today, we had a video blogger that did a really good pitch this morning, very, very good pitch. And the first thing I did is I passed it to Nick. I said, yeah, but you have to know Nick. So I said, can we do something together? So sometimes it's sharing things as well. And the other day, I was with a guy from Valencia, which is another competitor area in our area. I said, oh, how many visitors do you have in your website? And everybody's saying, oh, 1 million, 2 million unique visitors and all that. Everybody makes up a number because it's false. So the guy said, oh, no, Jaume, have my Google Analytics key and password. I said, no, thank you. So they give me the password. So It's a trust in Twitter's boards. It's a trust in the DMOs. And sometimes, or Nick or some other colleagues call me and say, oh, what do you think about this blog? Oh, don't bring it. It doesn't produce anything, you know? So we know each other well. So, and these things have changed. And of course the CEOs and all that, but the people, the technical people there, it changed, and they're more accessible and more willing to share. Because
you and Nick, going on from Malcolm was saying about the B-roll and the ownership of it being so important, is that something that Italy, Spain, can you talk to vloggers now and ask for content that you own as well as themselves? I commission them in to take content that you can keep yourself and build up your video library?
Yeah, like what Malcolm was saying before, another example, we were 3 years ago for the first time in Brazil at the WTM Latin America, and we were meeting some tour operators, but we had nothing in Portuguese. So I said, look, we had 5 Brazilian bloggers over, they created this content. We did an ebook of this content, and when the tour operators were coming, we did, like you said. So our region, this is what your people, the Brazilian people, think about our region. They were, wow, amazing. They were the experiences. So it's like you also need, when I was saying it's not a one-night stand, it's also with the content that is going to get produced. So you need to reason how to use it, what you can do, how to share it, and how to integrate it with your institutional websites and do all that kind of stuff.
our official video for the Pyrenees, because we got Costa Brava and Pyrenees, is a blogger video from Italy, Emiliano Becchi. If you search in YouTube in Pyrenees, the door to the Pyrenees, it's the official video, and it's a blogger video. It's his opinion, but we use it as official video for our tourist board. We don't use the official because nobody likes it, because it's just postcards. You know, it's like, show me 20 postcards. Okay, how beautiful we are. No, he shows feelings. He shows the way we are. He shows us. So it's different, and this is the one we use.
Any questions from out here? One of the. Can we get the mic over here? Just while we're waiting for that, Nick, I'm also reminded of you saying about bloggers, bringing them in, is because they write in their own native language. So it creates content for you written in dozens of languages around the world that you're not going to have to translate and cost you money.
Yeah, we had some partners. For example, I take again the example of the cooking school. It's like they had a Chinese blogger, and their website is only in Italian, but if you click on the Chinese flag, the blog post, it connects to the blog of the blogger, and the blog post come up.
Brilliant.
You know?
Question on the right.
Hi, my name is Prakash, and I'm with Inspirock. It's a startup that helps people plan vacations. My question is to Nicholas and to Jaume. How did you build the list or the community of bloggers that you reached out to, and how did you select the ones that you wanted to work with?
So, like Jaume said before, it's the people. So we researched online, and back in 2011, there weren't a lot of them. And by knowing them and chatting with them, we created the list kind of together. Of course, we as Emilia Romagna, we arrived 1 year later after them, and I just said, what kind of bloggers, Costa Brava, with which kind of bloggers did they work, you know? Yes. And so trying to meet them and to speak and to brainstorm together. And then you get now to a point where you can, the metrics we use, of course, the views are important, the analytics of the website and whatever, but it's also a personal feeling. I don't have to say that, but I received an email last year from a person saying I'm the blogger #1 in the world with the best views and whatever. You had everyone there, but not me. Why? And I said, you answered yourself.
How is Gary?
No, it wasn't Gary. We had Gary. I mean, that is the thing. How can I going to work you I'm the client. I'm the tourist board. You know, I don't have to make you happy, or I'm doing you a favor because you're coming to me. Yes.
Jamie, do you want to say anything on that?
Well, is that sometimes we use bloggers.
Okay.
Sometimes I phone Keith or I phone or Skype with Cash and say, look, where is this guy? And we use the community. The community is good for everything, so use them.
Yeah. Just on, what is the quality of bloggers like now compared to 5 years ago? There were professional people wandering the globe who'd sold companies who were self-sufficient. Now there's thousands, tens of thousands, possibly of travel bloggers around with no skills or quality. But generally, is the quality rising, or is it getting just wider?
It's also the, like I said before, the way how you act. Like Jome said, he came to me and pitched to me and gave me a proposal. I'm sorry to say that, but I'm sick of the bloggers coming to us and saying, "Oh, hello, I'm a blogger. Can I come to Costa Brava or Emilia Romagna?"
I say, no, this is not a pitch, it's a wish.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, come up with an idea, with a proposal. I know it's a hard time, a hard work, but if you want to do that, you need to do that.
And Malcolm, is there a collaboration between the British DMOs on this sort of same basis of sharing blogger names, content? And
No, I think there should be. I think it comes back to the great example beside me. I think all too often we compete when we actually complement, and there's nothing wrong with sharing customers. I think sometimes you almost want to own somebody that somehow they're a traitor if they go anywhere else. And I think that also applies. That starts to get in that mindset of preventing collaboration. I think in the UK we do quite a bit, ironically, with Cumbria. Because it's personal contacts and trust. And relationships built up over time. So if you get big changes in structures, that's when it breaks down for a while, because you've got to reconnect those organic connections. Because again, the older I get, old sayings, but businesses don't do business with businesses. People do business with people.
And Cumbria and Cornwall not competitive in terms of.
No.
It's a different type of landscape.
Yeah.
But you in Devon, possibly not so much.
Yeah, in Devon we could collaborate on many things. On certain things you have to say, no, we're too close. It's too close to competition, especially when they're between you and your customers. But not on other areas. Take overseas thing. No problem collaborating with Devon and the wider southwest, because it makes more sense to the customer. I think, again, you've got to put yourself in what the customer wants to do, not what you try to manipulate the customer to do.
Okay.
And I think the social media, the last thing I'd say is, it's a bit like, we've stopped doing it now. About 5 years, there was this great conference going around about saying, that tourist boards should tell the truth. Well, we should have been telling the truth all the time, but that's getting more and more true. So, it's not a matter of trying to manipulate or control stories. It's actually getting the right relationship to invite people that will appreciate it in their way and communicate it that way, rather than toe the party line or tell the story.
Okay, so we've got cooperation, collaboration, video. I think it's still very much in the mix. You've got community, bringing on that development of the people in your area to help contribute, tell their own story the way they want it to be told. Outsourcing, possibly, interesting move as well. So in one sentence each, in 5 years' time, what else is going to be in the mix? Malcolm.
I think you will see the complete turnaround that's happening from being controlling a message to being part of the group that helps the message to get across from the real customers. So I think we're about halfway now, and we've got to learn to let go and have faith in our product.
Very good.
And let the customers be the conduit for the customer's communication, not the controller of communication.
Nick?
Yeah, I totally agree with Malcolm. And then, of course, for me, really, competition is the thing. So where we will go. So we will collaborate more with competitors. The world is getting always smaller. Connections are always faster. And the travelers travel faster as well. So,
Very interesting. And John, mate?
I think the future probably with a community of similar interests. So instead of targeting some groups, we'll target more interest groups. So it would be, in Spanish, it would be comunidades de afines. Some people are in the same group with some interest, because I'm one person, but I have 5 different interests. I can be with family, I can be with golf, I can be with, so it would be more interested in my interest than in the rest of the destination.
Very good. With that, I hope you found that, as I did, stimulating and illuminating. I'd like you to put your hands together for my very esteemed panel. Thank you for your time. And